Hello and welcome once again to another edition of Myrtle Beach Focus this weekend on your favorite Cumulus radio station, or maybe you're taking us along on the City of Myrtle Beach's podcast. Either way, thank you so much. I am Night Train and as always joined for a little bit longer, 20-some-odd days still, with the City of Myrtle Beach, Mark Crua. Mark, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Night Train.
All right, let's spend a little bit of time with this next topic here, Mark. We should have some hate crime legislation in the state, so since the state won't do it, for whatever reason, City of Myrtle Beach felt that they needed to take this step.
And Myrtle Beach City Council this week gave first reading approval to, actually it's called a hate intimidation ordinance. It's intended, Night Train, to protect residents and visitors from crimes that are motivated by bias or hate toward anyone because of their actual or perceived race, color, creed, history, gender identity, sexual orientation, national origin, or, and you may not always think about this, physical or mental disability.
Oh, no.
Hate intimidation can only be charged as a crime if another crime has been charged under city or state law. So we wouldn't charge you just with being a mean person. We would have to charge you with, assault or something like that first, and then we could charge you with the hate intimidation crime. We get complaints where people are just not being nice to somebody. So, an elderly African-American veteran who is being picked on by neighbors for, who knows why. There's no good reason. There's no primary crime there. It's not necessarily a crime to be, a mean-spirited person, but we do hear about those things as well. Come on, folks, just be nice to each other.
This documentary delves into the alleged harassment and intimidation experienced by Eugene Gray, a 69-year-old black disabled veteran, during the spring of 2024 by a specific group of homeowners at the Waverider Resort. All visuals and information featured in this documentary were sourced from Mike Sims' personal and group Facebook pages, of which he was the creator and administrator. Additional insights were contributed by numerous homeowners, property managers, and current guests of the Waverider, who prefer to remain anonymous due to fears of reprisal from the homeowners implicated in the alleged harassment of Eugene Gray and other military veterans of the Eastern Carolina Housing Organization, ECHO. It's important to note that neither Mr. Gray nor any other full-time ECHO veteran has been convicted of any wrongdoing while living at the resort. Be sure to watch until the end for an unexpected twist that will leave you astonished.
Mr. Sims stands accused of engaging in harassment, intimidation, and spreading false derogatory remarks towards Eugene Gary, a 69-year-old black veteran with disabilities residing in the same condominium complex as Mr. Sims. This footage will reveal Mr. Sims, along with several adherents of his Facebook group, employing tactics, as claimed by Mike Sims, aimed at removing individuals like Mr. Gary by any means possible.
The folks who own here but don't live here should be thanking us for all the effort that's put in around here by the use of these cameras and our other tactics. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and if some dirty drug dealer wants to complain about feeling intimidated, then let them. This is my home. I have no apologies.
The images, videos, and remarks were sourced from Mike Sims' personal Facebook account and his group page, the latter of which was deactivated on April 12 shortly after Mr. Sims received legal notices. On March 1, 2024, Mr. Gary relocated to the Waverider, marking a significant change from his previous residence in Camden, SC, where he was employed at Magnolia's restaurant and also at a local horse stable. However, an unfortunate incident left him disabled, resulting in the loss of his job, home, and marriage. Seeking a fresh start, he journeyed to Myrtle Beach, where the Eastern Carolina Housing Organization extended a helping hand, securing him accommodation at the Waverider Resort. Originally established in the 1950s to accommodate transient vacationers visiting Myrtle Beach, the Waverider Resort underwent a transformation in 1996. It transitioned from a motel into condominiums, each unit being privately owned. These owners had the flexibility to utilize their properties as rental assets, catering to both short and long-term tenants. Alternatively, some owners opted to make the resort their permanent residence, enjoying its beachside ambience year-round. Mike Sims opted to become a permanent resident at the Waverider, committing to live there full-time. Upon his initial purchase, he took the initiative to establish a group Facebook page for the Waverider community. However, this endeavor was short-lived, as the page had to be shut down due to the rampant distribution of misinformation, causing discord within the community. Several years later, Mr. Sims embarked on another social media venture, creating a new Facebook group named Waverider Evidence. In this group, he engaged in the controversial practice of recording predominantly black guests, falsely accusing them of rule violations, and then encouraging them to enjoy themselves while covertly filming the interactions. The apparent goal was to discredit the Waverider front desk operator by showcasing these videos on the page, thereby tarnishing the resort's reputation.
Hey, I gotta have evidence for our HOA. This stuff's not allowed here, man. The people that rented you the room gave you false rules. There's no music allowed here at any time of any day. I'm getting all this evidence and all that filth coming out of that thing. I wish I would have known that, because this has been I've been recording everything. What you said, this is my last night here, and I said we're gonna have a little party to get together tonight. I mean, I'll be recording it. I don't want to get no trouble. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna call the police at 11 o'clock. I mean, seriously, everything's gonna be. There ain't gonna be no part. No, do it, man, because I need to record it. I need all the evidence I can get for my HOA. We need to get that man out of that office down there. The man that rented you the room. No, you're gonna be fine. They're not even gonna see this stuff until long after y'all are gone.
Over the previous years, many complaints began to surface from predominantly black tenants living full-time at the Waverider, with claims of people following them around the resort, filming them, and approaching them with intrusive personal questioning. Unfortunately, none of the tenants had any proof of these claims, and this behavior continued.
We're on daytime security detail. Hey!
A select few homeowners began installing doorbell cameras on the exterior of their doors, which in itself is a violation of the Homeowner Association rules that govern the Waverider. In order to place or attach anything on the outside of the room is prohibited unless written approval is first given by the board of directors. These doorbell cameras began popping up overnight with the encouragement of several homeowners who frequently posted on Mr. Sims Group Facebook page. As of March 1st, when Mr. Gary moved in, these select few homeowners began uploading videos to Mr. Sims Group Facebook page and accusing him and his granddaughter of drug dealing. They used derogatory terms such as dirty braids to describe his granddaughter, and other terms such as terrorist, eco trash, grandpa, skanky, and a drunk, just to name a few. They then began posting videos of each and every move that Mr. Gary and his granddaughter made that simply show nothing more than Mr. Gary or his granddaughter walking to and from the parking lot or out by the pool deck. Mr. Sims ignored prior warnings and continued permitting his followers to upload daily videos, despite being cautioned months ago to cease such actions. Among these uploads were numerous videos meticulously documenting every move made by Mr. Gary and his granddaughter on the property. Randy Aparofsky, the property manager of Unit 114 where Mr. Gary and his granddaughter resided, reached out to Greg Williams, the president of the Waverider board. Mr. Aparofsky relayed to Mr. Williams that several homeowners within the Waverider community were engaging in behaviors described as harassing and intimidating towards Mr. Gary. Upon reviewing the evidence provided by Mr. Aparofsky, Mr. Williams issued a statement via email and the online platform Town Square, directed to all homeowners who had provided their email addresses. In the statement, homeowners were explicitly warned against uploading or sharing videos with anyone other than law enforcement officials. Despite this warning, some homeowners persisted in uploading videos, expressing defiance and claiming impunity from repercussions. Some of Mr. Sims' followers began devising plans to escalate their tactics with the aim of ousting Mr. Gary and any other tenants associated with ECHO. These plans included installing additional mirrors on walls to improve surveillance of Mr. Gary's front door, displaying a wall of shame depicting derogatory photos of Mr. Gary and his granddaughter along a common hallway for all residents and visitors to see. And one homeowner even went as far as driving to a nearby parking structure to monitor Mr. Gary and his granddaughter's movements. They proposed interrogating local taxi companies to track the whereabouts of Mr. Gary's granddaughter. Subsequently, homeowners began contacting the police, alleging that Mr. Gary and his granddaughter were involved in drug dealing, potential prostitution, and suspected attempts to break into a homeowner's unit. However, upon police investigation, they found nothing amiss after speaking with the residents. Everything appeared to be in order. A troubling incident occurred when Mr. Gary's granddaughter returned to the laundry room to retrieve her grandfather's laundry, only to find the door locked. A situation made more concerning by the fact that only homeowners possess keys to lock the laundry door. Additionally, Mr. Gary's granddaughter and her friend were verbally accosted via the doorbell camera while simply passing by, adding to the escalating tensions. Furthermore, Mr. Sims positioned himself directly in front of Mr. Gary's room on multiple occasions, seemingly to make his presence known. He later boasted about his actions on his Facebook page.
Yesterday, when I got home from work, I took Hattie for a walk. When she was done, I sat on the retainer wall next to the entrance to the pool right across the walkway from Unit 114. I sat there with Hattie until a man peeked out through the crack between the curtains and I smiled and waved at him. Then I continued sitting there until after another minute. A female peeked out. I smiled and waved at her too. Then after another minute or so, the man opened the curtains about 18 inches. I smiled and waved again. The glare was too strong for me to be able to see into the room, but I still sat there for a few minutes glaring over at it as if I could see in there. After a few minutes, I got up and we left. I did it to see if it might make a difference in traffic last night.
Both Mr. Gary and his granddaughter were frightened, especially since Mike had brought a large black dog that repeatedly approached their porch while Mike stared directly into Mr. Gary's room. According to other full-time employees and residents who lived on site, they couldn't recall Mike ever occupying that area during the 7 years he had lived at the Waverider.
Mike Sims proceeded to craft a flyer purportedly originating from the association, intending to confront Mr. Gary by presenting it to him at his doorstep. This flyer was strategically designed to deceive Mr. Gary into believing it was issued by an official entity known as the association. However, it was actually independent of any involvement from the Homeowners Board of Directors. Mike states he is doing it as a tactic and furthermore states the following.
It is our intent to clean up our small village and we will go to any lengths to do that. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and if some dirty drug dealer wants to complain about feeling intimidated, let them.
The situation escalated when homeowner Mary Menser shared Randy Oporowski's Google Business Review page on the Mike Sims Group Facebook page. Additionally, Michael DiFilippi proceeded to leave negative reviews on both Randy's page and ECHO's Google Reviews page, expressing the following grievances.
Oporowski Property Management LLC. They place some tenants in condos that deal drugs. Their tenant placing and lack of responding has severely impacted our building. Eastern Carolina Housing Organization. They place drug dealers in communities. Don't let your condo association accept ECHO.
Mr. DiFilippi's claims about ECHO tenants severely impacting the building are over-exaggerated and misleading, considering he has a 4.7-star rating out of 5 stars on his Airbnb reviews. His most recent reviews indicate that guests are happy and do not mention any issues related to the veteran ECHO tenants as Mr. DiFilippi would have you believe. A deeper look at his negative reviews reveals complaints about an intolerable smell and other problems related to his room, which reviewer Denise stated Mr. DiFilippi pictures are misleading. It's significant to highlight that none of Randy Oporowski's tenants from ECHO residing at the Waverider have been convicted of any crime. However, it's worth noting that several homeowners of the Wave Rider Resort have been arrested. These charges include distribution of meth, loitering for the purpose of drug trafficking, public intoxication, domestic battery, prostitution, identity thief, shoplifting, unlawful possession of an illegal substance, unauthorized use of a credit card, and multiple fraudulent check charges. To reiterate, the individuals who have been arrested and accused of a variety of charges are solely homeowners of the Wave Rider Resort, contrary to the claims made that the offenders are ECHO tenants. In fact, Brendan Sauceville was an active member of the Mike Sims Group Facebook page until its deletion. A photo taken inside of Mr. Gary's room 114 captures Brendan and Elaine Hoffman standing outside Mr. Gary's room. According to Mr. Gary, they remained there for over an hour. Several homeowners, including Kathy Whitlock Ost, Michael DeFilippi, and Mary Mincer, began sending text messages to both Randy Oporowski and homeowner Canadian Henry, owner of Unit 114, where Mr. Gary lives, demanding that they stop renting through ECHO. They made unsubstantiated claims that the ECHO guests were the ones intimidating homeowners, dealing drugs, and possibly involved in prostitution. Kathy Ost makes the following claim.
These people are knocking on doors and trying to intimidate homeowners.
Please note that there is no evidence that actually supports Kathy Whitlock Ost's claim. No videos ever was uploaded to Mr. Sims Group Facebook page showing anything other than Mr. Gary and his granddaughter simply walking to and from the parking lot or walk around the pool area. Mary Mincer also sent similar messages stating the following.
A homeowner witnessed 114 do a drug deal and he took photos of it. Some people are even talking about getting a lawyer. I promise you on everything I love they are definitely dealing drugs out of that unit and possibly prostitution.
Here's the photo Mary mentions, posted by Michael DiFilippi. Despite DiFilippi's assertion that he doesn't exaggerate or fabricate, similar claims have surfaced before. For instance, several years earlier he alleged that a white girl who dating a black man was involved in drug dealing, yet, upon reviewing video evidence of the purported drug deal, nothing unusual was observed. Kathy Whitlock Ost took significant steps by lodging a complaint with the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs, aiming to have Greg Williams ousted as president of the board of directors at the Wave Rider Resort. She alleged that Mr. Williams had wielded his authority for personal financial gain and had misused the legal system and Wave Rider security cameras to target homeowners. Kathy further asserted that Mr. Williams had intimidated and harassed homeowners by inviting the NAACP and a news reporter in a court hearing where guest Eugene Gary sued homeowner Mike Sims. However, Kathy Whitlock Ost did not furnish specifics regarding how Mr. Williams abused his authority for personal gain, nor did she offer evidence of his alleged intimidation or harassment. Mr. Williams countered by stating that Kathy's accusations were baseless and aimed at replacing board members with homeowners of her preference. He insisted that he had minimal interaction with Mr. Gary, and it was Mr. Gary that filed a lawsuit against homeowners. Additionally, Mr. Williams denied inviting anyone to court and stated that he was not in attendance. He supported his defense with documentation from police officer Stephanie James, who refuted Kathy Whitlock Ost's claim that Mr. Williams had become upset or intimidated her during the mentioned meeting. Mr. Williams also presented emails and text messages from Kathy commending him for his efforts in addressing issues effectively. In the most recent text message, sent just weeks before filing a complaint with the South Carolina Department of Revenue, Kathy expressed the following sentiment.
I totally understand and don't blame you. Thank you for all you do for us.
Mr. Williams provided further proof where just days before Kathy submitted her complaint, he had a 2-hour conversation with her and several other homeowners. Mr. Williams recorded the entire conversation, and at no point did Kathy mention any of the accusations she later included in her complaint to the Consumer Affairs Department. In fact, during that conversation, Kathy and Mr. Williams discussed homeowners who regularly spread false information about him. Kathy acknowledged the rumors were untrue and defended him. Here is a clip of that conversation.
But I was a member of that, and I spent countless hours
responding to misinformation, which I could prove via cameras, and I proved it a lot. And Kathy, you know what I'm talking about, because Kathy saw what was being done of me, where I was saying that I was doing something that I was not, and she came to my defense on it.
I did.
This past summer, Kathy Whitlock Aust, formerly known as Kathy Oliver, was reported by Mike Sims to have sat outside his room, banging on 2 tin cups and playing loud music.
Bro, how old are we? How old are we here? But you kindly ask somebody to keep it down, and this is how they act. Kindly ask, I was very nice. I don't care when it is. You got people here that work. You got people, you're being very considerate. There's a lot of people here that work. Got to be at work tonight. I'm not here for me. I'm talking for all these people behind these curtains who are sick and tired of this noise. All I did was kindly ask them, what are you doing? You're taunting me. And you just want to taunt. Just want to taunt. And it's mostly renters doing it.
It's all senior citizens.
Acting like children. On video. You know, there are people here that live really close together here. We don't have to put up with this. Do you live here?
Right now we do.
I kindly asked if y'all could keep it down. That's all. I was very nice.
I mean very nice.
I'm not talking to you. What?
Do you like apples? I like apples.
You're out there clapping two cans together.
Is that what you thought?
Yeah, I got it right here on video. Come on, why do we want to act like this? Why do you want to act like this? Come on.
No, it's not. Are you hungry? If you're back on the end, you're hungry. You want something to drink?
No.
You want to listen to music?
No, absolutely no music. Absolutely no music, no. That's the last thing we need. Everything else is tolerable.
Well, HOA says music is allowed.
No, HOA says you can't hear it outside of your room. That's what HOA says.
HOA says music is allowed till 10 o'clock.
No, ma'am. That's the law. No. It doesn't. I don't care what you talk. What's in writing is what matters.
I read it too. 10 o'clock. Go to hell with your room if you don't want to hear it.
No, I'm hearing it in there. That's why I'm out here. I'm getting away from you crazy people. Get away from me.
This video serves as additional evidence that homeowners and their guests are causing more issues than Mr. Gary or any other veteran tenants at ECHO. Another incident involving Kathy Whitlock Aust occurred on May 1st, 2024, when she approached Greg Williams and informed him about a suspicious person walking around. Despite Mr. Williams advising her to contact the police if she suspected something suspicious and reminding her not to approach anyone, Kathy insisted on handling the situation herself. A black man carrying a suitcase emerged from the hallway, and Kathy began aggressively questioning him, asking who he was looking for. The man calmly stated that he had stayed in room 330. Kathy asked if he was a guest of room 330, to which he said yes. She then asked if he was a registered guest. He replied he was not. Kathy then instructed him to leave the resort immediately and never return. Mr. Williams noted that there is no official record of guests staying at the resort at any given time due to the constant influx of daily, weekly, and monthly guests checking in and out through various homeowners, property management companies, and the front desk operator. Additionally, there is no document of registered guests, contrary to Kathy's claim when addressing the black man. It's worth mentioning that Kathy had a white guest at the pool, and the woman whose room Mr. Williams was sitting near had several guests with her when Kathy approached the black man who claimed to be a resort guest. It's worth noting that Kathy did not question any of the white guests about if they were registered guests. Shortly after the incident, Mike Sims promptly sent an email to Waccamaw management and subsequently to the police and Myrtle Beach City Council, levying unfounded allegations against Greg Williams, Randy Oporowski, and the board of directors, insinuating corruption and involvement in drug profits. Mr. Sims demanded the resignation of the entire board of directors and insisted on the removal of a handicap walker positioned outside of room 330. Alleging it served as a signal for drug users to identify the designated room for their activities. It's worth noting that during the compilation of this documentary, numerous floor mats and several beach chairs were observed outside various doors. However, Mike Sims did not document any objections to these other items. He specifically objected to a mat and a handicap walker outside a veteran ECHO tenant's door. This selective objection could be seen as further evidence of Mr. Sims targeting veterans who receive assistance through the ECHO program. Sims also claimed that Kathy Ost merely engaged in a friendly chat with the black man waiting for his friend in room 330. It's crucial to note that Mr. Sims was not present during the incident and lacked first-hand knowledge. Upon reviewing the footage, it became evident that Kathy Ost was not engaging in friendly conversation with the individual as Sims suggested, but rather questioning him assertively and demanding his departure with no intention of returning. In the next recording, homeowner Carol Kramer describes walking by a man who was merely knocking on the door of Mr. Gary's room, number 114, and implying that he was there to purchase drugs.
That's what I told the drug buyer yesterday when he knocked on 114 in, it must have been about 10 o'clock or so. I'm walking by, he's knocking on the door. I said, they're all sold out, they don't have any more tonight. And he went, oh. And I'm just some little old lady. So just imagine if somebody with a gun, could be me, did that.
Elaine Hoffman and Larry Hoffman redirected their focus to inquire with the Wave Rider Board of Directors regarding the ECHO tenants. Elaine posed a question.
ECHO Eastern Carolina Housing Organization residents, please explain how the Wave Rider Resort is providing housing for homeless as ECHO prioritize reconnecting people with permanent housing as quickly as possible, without any conditions or requirements that must be met. Why would anyone think that the Wave Rider Resort is the place for this initiative?
Suggesting that veterans residing at the Wave Rider through ECHO should undergo conditioning or specific requirements, as Elaine Hoffman proposes, may potentially violate the Fair Housing Act. This act safeguards individuals from discrimination in rental situations, housing aid applications, and related activities. It would be unjust to propose conditioning and additional requirements solely for predominantly black veterans, while other tenants, who have rented through platforms like Airbnb, are not subjected to the same conditions or requirements as suggested by Elaine Hoffman, and Larry followed with his own inquiry.
Why are we allowing long-term Section 8 type housing in a family resort community? Who does this benefit? Not the community property owners. Or should I say, not the bulk of the property owners. Who would ever think that exposing families with children to these types of people would be a good idea? Obviously, we have already learned it is not. This situation compromises the master deed in two ways: the protection of our owners and guests from aggravating nuisances and the long-term lease clauses.
Mr. Hoffman fails to elaborate on why he characterizes these veterans in such a disparaging light, labeling them as aggravating nuisances and insinuating that they are unsuitable for families with children. As previously stated, these veterans have not been convicted of any crimes during their residency at the Wave Rider. Merely walking or spending time in the courtyard, like any other guest, should not be construed as a nuisance. Upon reviewing the Wave Rider Homeowners Master Deed, it becomes apparent that there is no provision for a long-term lease clause, contrary to Mr. Hoffman's assertion. In fact, the section of the Master Deed concerning rentals explicitly states, each unit is hereby restricted to residential use by the co-owner or co-owners thereof, and their immediate families. Guests, tenants, lessees, licensees, and invitees. It's disheartening that both Elaine and Larry Hoffman are making derogatory remarks about veterans at risk of homelessness. especially when a 2023 survey by payroll.org revealed that 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Publicly available information suggests that Elaine and Larry should be more empathetic towards veterans facing financial challenges. Given that records suggest the Hoffmans have faced alleged issues such as property tax delinquencies, a federal tax lien, and multiple liens by the Department of Revenue. Additionally, there was a foreclosure case on their condo at the Waverider, and allegations have been made against Larry Hoffman for issuing fraudulent checks over several years. According to several homeowners who have been a part of the Waverider since its inception, long-term tenants have been a fixture at Waverider since its conversion into condos in 1996. Despite the blame placed on Mr. Gary, his granddaughter, and other ECHO tenants by a small group of homeowners for all issues at Waverider, similar accusations have existed for many years, predating Mr. Gary and other ECHO tenants. Furthermore, over the past decade, there have been drug-related arrests, several shootings, multiple overdoses, and even a murder at the Waverider. It's worth noting that none of these incidents involved any veteran from the ECHO program. It's crucial to highlight that Waverider is situated directly on Ocean Boulevard in South Myrtle Beach, an area with heavy foot traffic due to the influx of vacationers each year. Additionally, Yupon Drive, situated directly behind Waverider, is notorious for drug-related activities and prostitution. Homeowner Leslie Raffner expresses the following sentiment.
We all knew what the building was when we purchased here, and further, if you purchase to live here, that is a high-foot trafficked area that serves the public as a motel, hotel, resort. We need to focus on positive direction and change and stop beating everyone down that disagrees with our opinions.
Furthermore, homeowner Carol Kramer states the following.
The thing is, this is not new. When I used to walk Goldie between 2 and 4 a.m. every night, there were always people outside. On the balcony, in the parking lot. Cutting through. We just didn't have personal cameras then to capture them on record. What you didn't know.
Mike Sims began removing individuals from his group Facebook page, including property manager Randy Oporowski and others. He also declined to allow a homeowner's black wife to join the group. Following the addition of a local news reporter to the group, Mr. Sims abruptly deleted the group Facebook page. Presently, there is an ongoing investigation by the city of Myrtle Beach and the FBI. Additionally, Mr. Gray has filed a lawsuit in magistrate court against Mr. Sims for harassment and intimidation. He has also obtained legal counsel from the NAACP. The color of one's skin or their appearance should not dictate their sense of safety or freedom to move about without fear. Mr. Gary fought as a Marine for this right. Every individual deserves the right to feel secure in their living environment, without the looming threat of homeowners surveilling their every move or escalating their efforts to remove them. As Mike Sims stated,
"It is our intent to clean up our small village, and we will go to any lengths to do that. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing, and if some dirty drug dealer wants to complain about feeling intimidated, let them. This is my home. I have no apologies."
It was a man and his family. This was like 2-3 years ago. They were at the pool, and they were loud. They had the boom box going. They were at the pool, and Mike yelled down from the balcony. This was like midday.
As he does.
This was on a Saturday, and it was like maybe 6 o'clock. And they were having a good time, and Mike yelled at them and told them that they were being, too loud, to turn it down. This was a resort, not a free-for-all, and they didn't. And then Mike got his camera, and he started videoing the people, the kids and the wife and so forth. And the man, who was a black man, he came out of the pool area, went to the balcony, and told Mike to stop filming his family, that they were not doing anything wrong. And Mike cited out that, it was a nuisance and a noise ordinance, and they were disrupting people's peace and that people had to work. The guy bust through his door and sucker punched.